Welcome to the Richland School District's Focus on Instruction. Today we are going to focus on quality instruction for all students, beginning with our pre-kindergarten initiative ACES program, then hearing from 3 exemplary teachers talking about how they impact learning by applying our instructional framework strategies in the classroom. To start out the program, today I have Suzanne Suyama with me to my left, and she is an ACES community partner from Childcare Aware, a program of Catholic Family and Child Service. Then I have Nicki Blake, and Nicki Blake works for the Richland School District as our ACES coordinator, and Tammy Morrow, a teacher from Jefferson Elementary School, kindergarten teacher. So welcome.
Thank you.
That. Tell me, Nicki, first about the All Children Exceeding Standards ACES initiative. Tell us about that.
Well, the ACES initiative was put together with a goal of engaging parents, early care and education providers, and our community with the district to ensure that our children in Richland School District come to school ready to learn.
What does ready to learn mean?
How would you, Tammy, how would you define ready to learn in a kindergarten classroom?
In a kindergarten classroom, we're looking at many things, and over the years it's really changed a lot as expectations have changed for kindergarten students. Teachers have had to be a lot more intentional about the services that they're providing for their children. 10 years ago, ready for kindergarten had a really different meaning than it does today. Today, we expect kindergartners to come in through the door knowing how to hold a pencil, knowing how to sit and listen to a book, knowing how to write their name, to identify their name, recognizing that a lot of kinders still don't do that, but the expectation is that they do come to kinder with those skills already intact. In years past, that wasn't an expectation. We thought, well, they're going to kinder, but we'll teach them how to write their name there. They'll learn how to tie their shoes. They'll paint pictures. They'll play with Play-Doh all day. They'll learn how to interact socially with other children. Now the focus is much more academic-based with the adoption recently of our Common Core standards by the state. The rigor that is being introduced is just really increased a lot. So the expectations are much higher for our kinders than they were a few years ago.
And I think Tammy made a really important point with this initiative. When we're talking about ready for kindergarten, we're talking both academically and socially ready, right, which is a key component of the initiative.
Mm-hmm. So as a new initiative in the Richland School District, how are we going to work with our community partners to prepare our students and our families for kindergarten?
Well, in part of what we've done with the ACES initiative is we've reached out to our early care providers and have invited them to come together and partner with our district, and that's where Suzanne actually comes in. And so why don't you say what you do first, and
Sure. Our program is called Childcare Aware. So we work with childcare providers to help children get ready for school so that they come to school with the skills necessary to not only, so they're not only ready to learn, but then they also have the skills necessary to be successful in school throughout the years. And we also work with families a lot to bring out that early learning message to them, and so that they know how to prepare their children to get ready for school.
Right, and I think an important thing with this initiative is the initiative came about with the hopes of staying in front of Richland School District's changing demographics. Our own community doesn't realize that our ELL population has doubled since 2007, and we have 29 languages represented. This year in kindergarten alone, we have 17 languages just in our new kindergartners that have enrolled. Our poverty rate has increased as well. As a matter of fact, our poverty rate is increasing at a rate that's greater than our enrollment rate. So right now in our Richland School District, we have schools that are under 20% free and reduced lunch rate and over 70. So with those changing demographics, we really need to stay in front of it. Our district has done a lot of things, put some things in place to ensure kindergarten readiness. We started collecting data in 2007, and our data indicated that we had about 48% of our kids coming ready to learn at that time. We took some initiative. We put preschool on our different campuses, and we brought some state and federal programs, ECAP and Head Start as well, to some of our campuses. And just doing those things and focusing in those areas, we've increased our kindergarten readiness now to about 59%. So we've made some great growth, but we've sort of exceeded. Now we're to the point where we've done everything we can as a system. So we have to engage this partnership with our community right now, which is what Suzanne and I are trying to do, to also improve the transition from our preschool to our kindergarten.
Absolutely. And we're very excited to partner with the Richland School District. And by we, I mean not only Childcare Aware, but the providers that have been attending those meetings and the early learning community as a whole are just very excited about this initiative.
Right. And when we called them together initially for our first meeting, we asked them, what can the Richland School District do? What can we do to develop this partnership? What are your needs? So we assessed their needs and found out that they had questions like, how does the Richland School District define kindergarten readiness? And what kinds of curriculum are we using? Can you help us engage our parents? What suggestions do you have with that? Also, there's lots of state initiatives that are coming down on those providers right now. There's new Washington State Early Learning Guidelines, and they've been handed those guidelines and with not really much instruction to go along with them. So that's an area that Suzanne and I have been able to partner together. We looked at what their needs were, and for example, in our last partnership meeting last week, we started by bringing in a kindergarten teacher who took the providers through the kindergarten screening tool, defined kindergarten readiness, and then we took them page by page through the Washington State Early Learning Guidelines.
Can you define what a screening tool is, Nicki?
Yeah, well, in our screening tool really is just the providers, that was a lot of confusion. They saw it as a great, big, huge assessment. And the screening tool is really just a glimpse. Right. Do you want to add to that?
The screening tool is used district-wide. All of our elementary schools use it. All of our kindergarten teachers use it. And it's not meant to be a comprehensive assessment of the child. It is just meant to be a quick glimpse into not just academics, but behavior and social skills as well. And it's just a very, very simple tool that teachers use to help identify, target students that may need extra assistance, to help us set up our classrooms. We look at things like, do they recognize any letters? Do they know their colors? What shapes do they know? Can they count? And we're not expecting them to know all of their letters or count to 100. We're expecting them to count to 5 or 6 or 7. Very, very simple, basic things. How do they interact with another adult? But I think it's really good that we're getting together with our child care providers and targeting them, identifying them. I know at the beginning of the school year, all of our kinder teachers in all of our schools, district-wide, collected data for Nicki. Mm-hmm. We ask questions like, where does your child attend a preschool, and if so, where? Does your child go to daycare, and if so, where? So that we could make sure that those child care facilities were targeted, were invited to be a part of, and to get the information that we're trying to share, because we don't want it to be a secret. Absolutely. We want to get that information out to our parents, to our providers, to our preschools. Nothing should be a secret. We want to share with you, and we want to work cooperatively together, because we know that the work that you do is so important to the work that we can do with our kids.
Absolutely. And the providers were very grateful for that information, and they're very excited to work with the district on how to outreach that same very information to families, right. Both families that have children enrolled in their programs, and then they know too that there's a lot of children out there that are not currently in formal early learning programs. So they would love to work with the districts and help outreach to those particular families. And also, I was very excited to see a lot of private preschool teachers there, as well as those child care providers. So it was
That's
very
the
exciting.
beauty of it, was the mix.
Yes, and the kindergarten teachers.
Mm-hmm. We did. Yes. We had some of our kindergarten teachers right there at the meeting too. So just starting the conversation, everybody using the same language, everybody having the same expectations. I think it's perfect. And each time we meet, we do sort of a needs assessment. So, we get together, Suzanne and I, afterwards and talk about, so what direction should we take our next meeting? And our next meeting, I think our focus will be on parent outreach.
Yes. Absolutely. And the providers, I have seen so much enthusiasm from childcare providers for this initiative. And I think it's because they see the enthusiasm of the district. They see the enthusiasm that came from the superintendent when he came to one of the meetings, from the assistant superintendent, from the kindergarten teacher. Their board members attend our meetings. Nicki is very, very enthusiastic and very responsive to their questions and concerns at that very first meeting. And I think that enthusiasm that you have district-wide is really what's going to make an impact and really make this initiative be successful. I truly do.
So truly a partnership for all kids in the Richland community, birth through postgraduate.
Through 8.
Yeah. Great. Yep. If I'm a new parent and I am not in a daycare situation or in a preschool, how would I get involved? What should I do?
Well, now, if you're new to this area, you can make a couple phone calls, because now you could call the Richland School District and you would probably be transferred right to me. Right. So I could provide information, but just the same, you can contact Suzanne. A lot of times people start with their community resource.
We do, and we have a parent referral line for child care referrals. So when parents call us looking for child care referrals, we always talk about what's going on in our community, at our libraries, within our school districts. So this is information that we will absolutely pass on to new families and families that don't yet have children in the school district, that may not be connected to the school district quite yet.
And all of this contact information as a new parent would be found at the Richland School District.
Correct. And we have a link on our website that says all children exceeding standards, and there's lots of information that you can get on that link.
Excellent.
So,
anything else that you'd like to add?
I don't know. I'm just really excited about the partnership. I think for a long time it's really been preschool, and then kindergarten has been just the start of a separate entity almost. The elementary school is a whole separate entity. It's felt like that over the years, but it's really exciting to see the partnerships forming. I know that all the teachers at the individual schools are working with the providers that are in their area. Like at Jefferson Elementary, where I am, we have a lot of kids that attend Champions. And so the Champions teachers and I are getting together on a regular basis. What letter are you guys working on this week? How can we support you? And they are just so excited about it. I'll speak for our director of our Champions. She's awesome. She keeps me on my toes. She came to me today. What letter is it this week? What new words are you guys working on? How can I support you? What can I do to help these guys in the afternoon? Because they also have an extended kindergarten program that they offer for kids that go there in the afternoon or the morning, the opposite time that they attend kindergarten. So the communication has just been fantastic, and that's definitely been an area that in the past has been lacking, because I think it's felt like, oh, now they're starting real school, or they're starting kindergarten. Preschool is real school, daycare is real school. That child starts learning the moment they're born. And so we need to be intervening earlier.
Absolutely.
And working together as a team.
Right, and I think it's going to make that transition for the child so much easier, because providers are going to know what to expect when the children enter kindergarten, and they can prepare the children better for that. And we're talking about doing visits to kindergarten classrooms prior to entering kindergarten, so it'll just make it a seamless, less stressful transition for the child.
But,
yes,
and really we should mention too that this is just one component of our ACES initiative, is this partnership that we have with the Childcare Aware. We also have a teacher outreach group, which Tammy's a part of, and those teachers are working to identify populations in each building that we haven't done a very good job of reaching. So we're talking about taking early learning to like apartment complexes, Tammy and I have talked about, where if families can't come to us, how can we get to them? We had a meeting, you were involved in the meeting today too, Lori, with our higher education partners, and we talked about how can we utilize those resources for before school programs, after school programs in our K3 component to, to embrace that. So I think we're looking, this is just the beginning.
Absolutely.
The ACES initiative really needs to reach out to all of our community so that our entire community feels like they play an important role, because they do, in assuring that 100% of our kids come to school ready to learn.
Well, thank you, Suzanne and Nicki
Absolutely.
and Tammy, for your insight and for your partnership with preparing all children for kindergarten. We'll be right back with more from the Richland School District's Focus on Learning.